Okay, we're going to take a brief look at the counters that come with Musket and Pike. This is just a small sample. The unit on the far left is a musket unit. That means it can engage in ranged fire. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, we have its fire strength. In the upper right-hand corner, we have its range, which is affected by the distance to the target. The lower left-hand corner is its defense. If it has parentheses, like this one does, it does not add to the defense of a stack if other units do have non-parenthesized defense strengths. If it is alone by itself, it has a 1 for defense strength. Let's see, in the far lower left, what am I trying to say? And the lower right-hand corner is its movement allowance. The unit next to it is a Pike unit. It can only engage in melee combat. It has a melee strength of 4 and a movement allowance of 3. The unit to its right is a light cavalry unit. It also can only engage in melee with a strength of 2, but it has a much higher movement value at 10. Now the unit to the lower right hand side is a rider cavalry unit. It can engage in both missile and melee combat, or as it's termed, fire combat. Its fire combat values are 3 and its range is 2, and it can also engage in melee with a 1 and an 8 for movement. Now, as just a brief, quick example here, if I can find my units that I'm using as an example. Alright. If I take this unit and stack it with this unit, the Rider Cavalry and the Militia unit, if it were attacked, it would defend with a strength of 1, because the parenthesized defense does not count. So there'd be really no reason why you'd want to stack those two units together, because they don't increase the defense at all. Stacking can be 2 to 3 units per hex based upon the scenario. There are no command control rules, so basically that is a form of command control by allowing certain sides to stack more units per hex than the others. However, I do find a strange or small anomaly, I guess, in the fact that each hex represents 50 meters, or about 50 yards, roughly half a football field, American football field. So I question the ability to pack an entire troop of muskets and an entire unit of pikes in a hex that's roughly half the size of a football field, and still, get them to maneuver and fight like they should. But, I don't know. I wasn't there. So anyway, that's just a brief example. There's many other types. There's dragoons, there's heavy cavalry, there's improved muskets, improved pike units, just about every type of unit you would find back in the 1600s. There's different types of artillery, etc., etc. Okay, I'm going to give you a brief example of movement. As you can tell from the counters, the numbers on the lower right hand counter are its movement point values. These are spent like points to enter each new hex, or to enter or cross different hex sides other than clear. Let's see here. So the sequence of play is basically fire combat, movement, and melee. So let's say it's the green player's turn, and they are going to move up and engage the blue player. None of the units on the board at this time have fire combat ability, so the fire combat phase would be skipped. So we're just going to go straight on into movement and see how that works. So basically, This is going to be tough to do and I can't see the unit. This unit's going to spend 1 movement point and stop. There are no zones of control in this game, and there are no rules really for units having to stop once they enter or move next to an enemy unit. So there'd be nothing really to stop it from going 1, 2, 3, except that, you know, that would put it out of place next turn if there were more blue pieces. Okay, the second unit would be 1, 2. Now we could also stack. Let's say they're stacking of 2 units per side. We could go 1, 2 and double up on this unit, or even take those 3 units against him if you wanted to, but we'll worry about that for combat. So the next one will be 1 movement point, 2 movement points, and it stops right there. So that's just kind of a brief example of movement. There is road movement. What, get you there without having too much glare. There is no facing, so you can point your counters however you want to. It's no big deal. Roads cost half a movement point per hex traveled, whatever you want to say. However, if you're using road movement, you cannot move a unit through another unit. So if I moved him, let's just say 1 hex, 2 hexes there for 1 movement point, his move is done. But let's say I wanted to move this unit past him, so it's going to be like 1/2, 1, 1/2, and then I got to pay the normal terrain. So that would be 1.5, 2, and then he could keep on going. 2, 3. So that's basically the gist of moving on a road.